season took on a whole new look last fall. The scare of catching swine flu had people scrambling to get vaccinated, standing in long lines for 2 separate shots. As vaccination time begins again, the scene's calm. Barely even there.
It's been picking up. We started vaccinating a week ago. We're seeing people every day. I would say between 3 and 5 every day.
At CVS's Minute Clinic in Lakewood, there's no rush on the vaccines, but they've got them. And doctors say everyone, not just people in high-risk groups, should get one, despite how bad or mild the flu season may be.
No one's really sure what's going to happen. We haven't gotten a lot of notice that there's a lot of influenza circulating now. We have had some sporadic cases of influenza that have been reported by the Centers for Disease Control, but we haven't seen a huge amount of it yet.
This year's vaccine includes the H1N1 strain, so instead of 2 shots this year, you only need 1. Children who did not get an H1N1 vaccination last year will need 2 doses.
Of course, a lot of Ohio parents are familiar with the new guidelines for required vaccinations for students to go back to school. While a flu vaccination is not required, the CDC strongly recommends it.
We warn you again, this story is disturbing. The description's graphic. Alex DePreto has the story and surveillance video from Miami.
And the guy was like tearing him to pieces with his mouth. So I told him, get off. You know, it's like, and the guy just kept eating the other guy away, like ripping his skin.
Larry Vega describes it as a scene out of a horror movie on the MacArthur Causeway exit as a naked man chewed off the face of another naked man. Vega went to flag down a Miami police officer.
Police officer came over, told him several times to get off, and the police officer climbed over the divider and got in front of him and said, get off. He told him several times, and the guy just stood his head up like that with a piece of flesh in his mouth and growled.
When the attack continued, Vega says the officer fired, but the man continued to chew flesh off the victim. The officer then fired several more times, killing the attacker. A Miami Herald surveillance camera caught the aftermath as the 2 men lay side by side on the ground.
It was just a blob of blood. You couldn't really see, like, it was just blood all over the place.
The victim was taken to Jackson Memorial Hospital with missing flesh, and according to a 7 News source, his face was not recognizable. Vega says both the men appeared to be homeless, and he believes the attacker may have been on drugs.
He looked like he was on something. You know, he was just, either he was really psychotic or he was on crack.
Miami police have not identified the attacker nor the victim, but Vega says he simply can't shake the image he'd expect to see on the big screen and never on the streets of Miami.
Pretty gruesome. It's one of the most gruesome things I've ever seen in my life in person. You know, you see these things in the movies.
That was Alex DePreto reporting. The victim remains in critical condition this evening. Sources say the victim's injuries are some of the worst that they've ever seen.
This is an emergency transmission to all personnel and staff of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. We are currently on a surveillance alert of a new viral disease that was reported in Midwestern states. The category of this new disease has been unconfirmed, nor the origin of this disease have been confirmed. As of now, code name Wildfire, will now be declared to further investigate this new disease to confirm its potential composition to any or possible viral disease or any other pathogens to verify this contagious disease. All active CDC agents will be deployed to reported locations that has this disease under containment immediately, and by collecting samples to further understand its potential and identify this disease immediately. All levels of confidentiality will be under restrictive admittance to this case. Report any and all persons that have this disease and inform health departments of these investigations with the same levels of confidentiality, and establish a proper containment of the area.